The door slammed shut behind me with a finality that echoed like a gunshot, rain lashing my face as I stood on the porch, suitcase clutched in trembling hands, the cold October wind whipping through my thin coat like knives. "You're a liar and a thief," my husband Tom had bellowed moments before. His face twisted in a mask of betrayal I'd never seen in our 12 years together. Eyes bulging, veins throbbing in his neck, spittle flying as he shoved me out into the storm. His daughter, Emily, stood behind him, arms crossed, a smug curl to her lips that she quickly masked with feigned tears when he glanced her way. Heartbreak ripped through me like jagged glass, but fury surged hotter, drowning it out. How could he believe her lies? That I'd stolen money from her college fund? That I'd been cheating with the neighbor? Me, Sarah, the woman who'd raised her as my own since she was 10, after her mother died. The porch light flickered, casting elongated shadows that danced mockingly, and as thunder cracked overhead, resentment coiled in my gut, a venomous promise that this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of their unraveling. I stumbled down the slick steps, mud squelching under my heels, the metallic tang of rain mixing with the salt of my tears. Denial hit first, a desperate whisper in my mind. This can't be real. Tom loves me. But the image of him, choosing her word over mine without question, fueled the obsession taking root. I'd seen the signs, Emily's growing resentment since she turned 18, her subtle digs about me replacing her mom, her late nights out that Tom excused as youthful rebellion. But this fabricated bank statement she'd shown him, forged texts on a burner phone. Humiliation burned as I imagined the neighbors peeking through curtains, whispering about the crazy stepmom, tossed out like trash. I hailed a cab, the vinyl seat sticky and cold against my soaked clothes, and directed it to a cheap motel on the outskirts of town. The neon sign buzzed erratically, vacancy flickering like my fracturing resolve. In the dingy room, walls papered in faded floral patterns peeling at the edges, I collapsed onto the sagging bed, the springs groaning in protest. Heartbreak washed over me in waves, memories flashing. Our wedding day, Tom's warm hand in mine, Emily's reluctant smile when I helped her with homework, family dinners filled with laughter. But layered beneath was anger, raw, pulsating. Why hadn't Tom listened? "Emily wouldn't lie," he'd said, voice breaking. Doubt crept in. Maybe I had been too strict, pushing her toward independence. Guilt flickered. Had I failed as a stepmother? But no, this was manipulation, pure and vile. Emily's motives twisted in my thoughts. Jealousy over Tom's attention, or perhaps something darker, like wanting the house to herself now that she was adult. Obsession gripped me. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through old photos, each one a reminder of the life she'd stolen. The next morning, sunlight slanted through grimy blinds, dust motes dancing like indifferent spectators. I called my lawyer, voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. "File for divorce," I said, the words tasting like ash. Inner conflict raged. Part of me yearned to beg Tom back to expose Emily's deceit. But fantasies of justice whispered, "Make them suffer slowly." Fear held me. What if revenge backfired, painting me as the villain? Moral grayness settled. Emily wasn't evil, just spoiled, damaged by loss. Tom, blinded by paternal love, wasn't a monster. Yet their betrayal justified retaliation, or so resentment convinced me. I moved into a cramped studio apartment downtown, the air thick with the scent of takeout from the restaurant below, sirens wailing in the distance like omens. Work at the marketing firm became a blur, colleagues' sympathetic glances fueling humiliation. "Heard about you and Tom," my boss said awkwardly over coffee, the steam rising like unspoken judgments. I nodded, suppressing rage, but inside plans brewed. Subtle hints emerged. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled man named Reyes with a cigarette-stained voice, to dig into Emily's life. "Quietly," I instructed, handing over cash in a shadowy cafe, the clink of mugs masking our words. Weeks dragged, suspense building like a tightening noose. Tom called once, voice laced with regret. "Sarah, maybe we can talk." But Emily's influence lingered. He hung up when I mentioned her lies. Dialogue revealed cracks. She's my daughter, he pleaded, suppressed rage in his tone hinting at doubt. I played wounded. I loved her too, hiding my cold resolve. Inner thoughts churned, denial fading to obsession, imagining Emily's downfall. Reyes reported back. Emily was seeing a older guy, shady dealings with drugs, skipped classes. Moral conflict pricked. Expose this and ruin her future? But resentment pushed. She ruined mine. Tension rose at a mediation session. The sterile conference room smelling of stale coffee and desperation. Tom sat across, eyes hollow. Emily absent but her shadow looming. I want the house, he said flatly, lawyer nodding. Heartbreak surged, our home where we'd built dreams. You believed her without proof, I countered, voice cracking authentically. He shifted, guilt flashing. She showed me evidence. Manipulation hung heavy. I smiled inwardly, planting seeds. Check the dates on those statements, I suggested casually, foreshadowing the unraveling. Back in my apartment, rain pattering against the window like impatient fingers, I pored over Reyes's files. Photos of Emily at parties, substances in hand. Texts to her boyfriend about getting rid of Sarah. Fury boiled, but doubt whispered. Was I becoming obsessed? Guilt over spying warred with resolve. I started small, anonymous tips to her college about plagiarism, forged like her lies. She got probation, Tom confided in a rare email. Emily's struggling. Suspense thickened. He had no clue it was me. Inner journey deepened. Nights of tears, questioning if revenge healed or hollowed. But as I uncovered more, Emily's hidden bank account siphoning Tom's money, resentment solidified. She'd accused me of theft to cover her tracks. Cold planning ensued. Gather irrefutable proof, strike during divorce proceedings. Fear of exposure loomed, but obsession won. The pivot came one stormy evening. I followed Emily to a seedy bar, neon lights reflecting off puddles, the bass thumping like my heartbeat. Through the fogged window, I saw her with her boyfriend, exchanging cash for bags. Shock hit, drugs, real danger. Moral grayness intensified. Report her and save her, or use it. Resolve hardened. She'd chosen this path. As part one closed, tension crested, Tom texted. Let's meet. I miss you. Hope flickered but I replied. Bring Emily. The meeting loomed, a powder keg, subtle vengeance simmering beneath. The cafe buzzed with midday chatter, the aroma of fresh espresso clashing with a storm brewing in my chest as Tom and Emily slid into the booth across from me. Tom's face was gaunt, lines etched deeper since that fateful night. His eyes pleading for reconciliation. Emily, however, fidgeted with her necklace, a gift from me years ago, her gaze darting, lips pursed in barely concealed disdain. Sarah, thanks for coming, Tom said, voice gravelly, reaching for my hand across the scarred wooden table. I pulled back slightly, heart pounding with layered emotions, lingering love warring with resentment. We need to clear the air, he added, glancing at Emily, who forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Suspense hung thick, the clatter of dishes like ticking clocks. They had no idea I'd armed myself with truths sharper than her lies. I sipped my coffee, the bitterness mirroring my resolve. Inner conflict raged. Part of me wanted to forgive, rebuild, but fantasies of justice, honed over sleepless nights, demanded payoff. Emily, why'd you lie? I asked calmly, watching her flinch. She leaned forward, voice saccharine. I didn't lie, Sarah. You were always jealous of me and Dad. Manipulation dripped from her words, heightening tension. Tom shifted uncomfortably, suppressed rage flickering as he murmured, Let's not accuse. But doubt shadowed his face, subtle foreshadowing of the twist to come. We talked in circles, dialogue revealing depths. Tom's guilt over choosing blood over bond, Emily's hidden motives, fear of losing her father's undivided attention as he aged. I just want what's best for Dad, she insisted, tears welling performatively. Heartbreak tugged at me, she'd been a scared kid once. But obsession pushed. Best like stealing from him? I dropped casually, sliding a folder across the table. Photos, statements, Reyes's goldmine. Tom's eyes widened, scanning the evidence. Emily's secret account, drug buys. What is this? He whispered, voice cracking. Emily paled, stammering. It's fake. She's framing me. But the panic in her eyes betrayed her. Suspense escalated as Tom turned to her, betrayal mirroring what I'd felt. Emily, he pressed, hand trembling. She broke, confession spilling. I needed money. For school, for fun. Sarah was in the way. Hidden motives surfaced. Resentment over my discipline, jealousy of our marriage. Moral complexity deepened. She wasn't cartoon evil, just a young woman spiraling, enabled by Tom's blind love. I watched, cold resolve masking inner turmoil. Guilt pricked, destroying a family, but resentment justified it. You kicked me out over her lies, I said to Tom, voice steady. He crumpled, head in hands. I'm sorry, Sarah. I should have trusted you. The cafe faded, sensory details sharpening. The steam from his untouched latte, the distant rumble of traffic like approaching doom. Divorce proceedings accelerated, but with a twist. I demanded nothing material, only truth. In court, the sterile room echoing with whispers, I presented evidence under oath. Emily's lawyer objected, but the judge's gavel silenced. Proceed. Tension built as witnesses. Reyes, disguised as a concerned friend, testified. Emily broke down on the stand, admitting fabrications amid sobs. Tom's face ashen, he avoided my gaze, guilt consuming him. Back in my apartment, the walls closing in with the scent of wilting flowers from well-wishers, obsession waned to reflection. Doubt surged, had I gone too far? Fantasies of justice felt hollow now. But pacing created rising tension, quiet calls to authorities about her drugs, anonymous but traceable if needed. The dramatic payoff unfolded at the final hearing. Sunlight pierced the courtroom blinds, dust swirling like unsettled spirits. Tom approached me outside, voice broken. Can we try again? Hope flickered, but I shook my head. Too late. Then the twist struck. Emily's boyfriend, arrested for dealing, implicated her. She'd been using Tom's money to fund it, a deeper betrayal. Tom collapsed in the hallway, paramedics rushing in. A heart episode, stress-induced. In the hospital waiting room, antiseptic smells stinging my nose, I sat beside Emily, her face streaked with genuine tears. This is your fault, she hissed, but guilt cracked her voice. Inner conflict peaked. My revenge had poetic justice, turning their world upside down, but unexpected consequences loomed. Tom's health shattered, Emily facing charges. No, I replied softly. It's ours, all of us. Moral grayness enveloped. I'd sought vengeance, but it birthed regret. Tom recovered but changed. Distant from Emily, who entered rehab, her future uncertain. I walked away free but haunted. The divorce finalized. I stood on a bridge overlooking the river, wind tousling my hair, the water churning below like my emotions. Psychological impact lingered. Justice tasted like poison. In the end, betrayal's cycle claimed us all, leaving scars deeper than lies.